Good morning, brothers and sisters. I hope you all are doing well. My message today is the three stages of a relationship. And when I say relationship, I'm not talking about brother-sister relationship. I'm talking about intimate relationship between a man and a woman. And my observation over the years is that there are three stages to a relationship. I call them the infatuation stage, the sandpaper stage, and the unconditional love stage. Most relationship doesn't make it to the unconditional, but we're going to go into the three stages a little in depth in hope that persons, when they listen to this, will understand and be able to see the relationship for what it is and see where they may be lacking and what needs to be done. So we will start with the infatuation stage. Well, by now, most people know what is the infatuation stage. It is that stage where you all up in your head. You meet someone and you can't stop calling each other. You can't stop texting each other. You're always smiling. You're walking around on a cloud. You're all happy and in love. And that is good. But that in itself is really a chemical reaction in your body that creates this blissful feeling. But eventually, this chemical in your body will not be able to produce that blissful feeling all the time. And it will come to a place where you have to come to know each other. But getting back to the blissful feeling, in that stage, most of the time, people don't show you who they really are. They show you the best side of who they are. They try to project themselves sometimes, even to be what they are not. And in that stage, you find that sometimes, even though we see little signs of things that we may or may not like, we tend to overlook it and compromise. Because in that stage, what is happening is that we are building up in our minds a perception of who we think the person is and not who they really are. So we are building this image in our mind of who you are to me based on what I perceive or want in a woman or in a man. And I am generally sometimes seeing things that are really not there. I am seeing it and attaching it now to what I need or what I want. Or you may have one or two traits, and I am telling myself, okay, right, this is it, because I'm seeing one or two traits, and I tell myself, yes, I can live with the differences of the others. But as the bliss starts to deteriorate, you find yourself not being able to adjust to the changes. Or by that time, the person stops trying to impress you with niceties and niceness and starts being who they are. And that now comes to a place where you start seeing certain things and then you start getting irritated by it. And then after a while, this relationship that was in its infancy starts to become irritated to your spirit. You start not being able to stand certain things, and you may tell the person about it, and they may not change it. And then you start telling yourself, you start to get more and more irritated. Now, change is something that is difficult sometimes to come about, especially if that was not the person's trait. The fact remains that you may want the person to change something in them that is who they are. It is ingrained in their psyche, and it will be difficult to be changed immediately overnight. And then you might become irritated by it, but that is who the person was. But you weren't seeing that because you actually built up in your mind a perception of who the person is. And now you're asking the person to change to suit you. And personally, I don't think that is right for anyone to come into a relationship and to ask to come and put your own perception of who you think a person is and ask them to change. Now, we know that all relationships will have compromise to some level, but the compromise mustn't be so great that it actually changes the person's personality. The person's personality must not be interfered with, because now the person becomes unhappy and the person is uncomfortable around you and starts to feel like if they're being judged all the time. They start to feel like if they're walking around on eggshells around you because they have to pretend to be who they're not. And therefore, that level of uncomfort is also going to create situations that is going to even be worse in the relationship. So now you have persons who are pretending to be just to please you who they're not. And that is a recipe for disaster because of our own perception and what we projected on somebody else. And if you're seeing red flags in somebody that you feel that you cannot live with, or you analyze it and you tell yourself, okay, how much qualities does this person have? You know, my sister-in-law some years ago told me that. Her husband told her that. And sometimes we can major on the minors. Yes, a person may have some things that we may not like. But when you look at the general, overall perception and behavior pattern of the person, what you discover is that that person has a lot of qualities that are good. They will not be 100% perfect, but they may have a few that is not good. But sometimes in relationships also we tend to look and focus on the things that are not good, bypassing the things that is good in that person. And therefore we can see, according to them, the glass half full or half empty. So we focus on the minors, not and overlooking the majors. And sometimes we make mistakes in doing so in relationships because we break up our relationship for maybe one or two minor things when the person had 98% that was good. But we only saw the 2% rather than the 98%. So we have to be careful also with that. But if you analyze a situation with someone and you see that, listen, they have more good qualities than they have bad qualities, you now look at what the bad qualities are. Can I live with this? Can I put aside my own perception and probably see this from a different point of view and try to work with this? Can I work with this and still be with this person and be happy? And if it is just something that you can work with, then work with it. If it's something that you cannot work with, then you know that you need to leave the relationship. Or if you analyze and the relationship, the person have more bad qualities than they have good qualities, then you know you need to leave the relationship. If the person is not adaptable to changes, and that is something that is ingrained in the person's personality. But anyway, getting back to the initial stages. So eventually it starts to break down. And we start to go into the place called the sandpaper stage. At this stage, this is where you start rubbing each other the wrong way. Every minute we're quarreling. You can't stand each other. Sometimes just the very presence of the person has you irritated. You're so upset. Sometimes you don't even want to see the person. Sometimes you hear the person's voice and you're vexed. Now, this is a person that you was all up and delusional about just a couple months ago, maybe a couple years ago, because the stages doesn't have a time frame. Some people's stages will last for years, and some people's stages may last for months. So now you are irritated with each other, and you're telling yourself, I can't stand this person. I don't love this person anymore. But this is just another stage, and it's not that you may not love that person anymore. The thing is, you are now actually seeing that person for who they are, because you're out of your illusion and you're now seeing that person for who they really are. And this is where you have to analyze whether this relationship is worth putting the effort into and going through that stage to get a place of smoothness. Because what happens to sandpaper is that it smoothens things out eventually. So you rub each other the wrong way so much until eventually you become smooth. In that stage is the stage where most relationships will break up, because it will mean that you have to change some of your perception, or the other person may in fact have to compromise a bit. There will be some compromisation between the both. But if both parties are willing and want to work at it and see where they are actually creating a situation that is uncomfortable for the other party and willing to work at it, then they can go past that stage and come to that place of smoothness. Now, to go past that stage means that you have to put away your selfish reasons. And most of the time, because we have not been taught, most relationships in that second stage break up because it's one-sided. It's a one-sided relationship. It means that one party may be giving more than they are receiving. And if I am taking care of you, or I am looking out for you in a relationship, and you are also looking out for yourself, it means that that relationship is one-sided, because I am taking care of you, but you are not returning and taking care of me. You are leaving me without any attention whatsoever. So therefore, my needs are not being met. And there will be eventually problems because my needs are not being met. And even though I may do it for a period of time, eventually I will wake up and say, listen, this is not benefiting me anything. I need to leave. In a real healthy relationship, the need of each other must be met by the other partner. You cannot take care of your own needs and your other partner taking care of your own needs. Sometimes that happens as well. Each person looking out for themselves, it is not going to work. It is going to cause chaos and it's going to break up. One partner looking out for the other partner, and the other partner still looking out for themselves, it is not going to work because somebody's needs are not being met. It is a relationship where two are coming together to form a relationship as one. And my needs must be met and your needs must be met. But your needs must not be met by you. And my needs must not be met by me. Your desire and your way of thinking should always be, what can I do for my partner today that will bring some kind of enlightenment, some kind of joy to them? How can I make their day even better? Every decision I make, I must consider, how is this decision going to impact on my partner? How is my partner going to feel about this? And if to myself, I tell myself my partner is not going to be happy about this, then that is a decision I don't need to make, because I am not coming to bring any kind of hurt or destruction to my partner. My partner, on the other hand, wherever they are, even though I am not present, I must always be present with them. It's as if I'm always there. So they, in themselves, too, when they have to make a decision, they must say, how is this going to affect my relationship and my partnership with my partner? Is this going to hurt them? Is this going to cause some inconvenience? How can I make the day better? Every day, how can I make their day better? And if I see that this is not going to add to their value, I must say, no, I must not do this because this is not going to add value to them. So therefore, if I am looking out for you and you are looking out for me, then we can have now form what is called the unconditional love partnership, where we have a beautiful relationship where we both take care of each other. I'm taking care of you and you are taking care of me. And if there's something that I feel that, listen, I can't make that decision, I need to discuss it with you, we discuss it. But in this beautiful relationship must be 100% honesty, trust. There mustn't be unnecessary jealousy and lockdown, and I want to lock you down and control you. I must be able to trust you that when you leave to go where you say you're going, or if you're going out, I don't have to wonder. I wonder if it's a man. I wonder if it's a woman. I see somebody talking to you. Oh, they're together. Oh, that must not be there. That 100% trust to each other must be there, so that you don't go being paranoid, because we remember we operate in a world where there are two forces. There's the forces of light and the forces of darkness. And the forces of darkness is not going to stop trying to bring a wrench between your relationship just because you all understand the 3 stages. No. It is still going to try to bring doubt, fear, mistrust, and all of that in the relationship. That is why you must always have that open communication and trust to speak the truth to each other, no matter what the truth is. And you must be mature enough to accept that truth and not allow it to become paranoid by it and then start a whole temper tantrum. Because the worst thing you can do is that when somebody tells you the truth, you start to get on and behave in a way that that person now is forced to lie to you. So therefore, you really don't know what's going on. That is going to bring a breakdown. But open communication, honesty, love for each other, and support, where you're taking care of each other, is going to help bind the relationship to a place where you come to a new level of love, where you can make joke, you can make things, and you smile like if you go back to a place of bliss. but it's not an infatuated place of bliss. It's like you go to work, and if you're living together or you're married, you can't wait to come home, because really and truly you enjoy your partner so much that you don't even want to go online with friends. You and your partner like bim and bam, all you're always up on each other. People want to know, well, what is wrong with these two people? Why do they get some space? They ain't allowing each other to breathe. But you don't need the space to breathe, because your partner becomes your best friend. Your partner becomes your best friend. You can talk to your partner about anything, and they know when to put on the hat of a friend. They know when to put on the hat of a lover. They know when to put on the hat of just a companion who, to keep you company, if so you learn the different hat that you must put on in this relationship, because a relationship is not just about love, it's about friendship. It's about being there. Sometimes you have to be there like a mother or a father to your partner, but you must know when to wear which hat, and not take everything. If I tell you the truth, you take it personally, because the truth that the word of God said will set you free. And for me, what I observe is that there are forces, and there will always be people who will be attracted to you or attracted to your partner. And open communication is better, because what I discover is that the forces of darkness like secrets. I will just use this as an example. For instance, you may have a partner, you all are going good, and that partner may be, or somebody in the work may be attracted to your partner, and tell yourself, he's a real beautiful person to be with. I see how he treated his wife, and oh, I wish that was mine. And eventually they start finding communication or talking to your partner and kind of pushing themselves up on your partner. Now your partner come home and he says to you, listen, it have this woman on work, I find like she pushing up herself on me, ting. You mustn't panic, because your partner in the first place, if he was interested and he was being dishonest or wanted to be dishonest, he wouldn't tell you that. And I rather he tell me that, because you see, I now know where the enemy is trying to come. It tells me that the enemy now is trying to send someone to penetrate my relationship, to cause chaos. So now I know, okay, I'm not going to attack my partner because he comes to me with that. I have a prayer closet. I know where I have to deal with that. I am going in my prayer closet, and I go and start to deal with that force now that is moving in that person, because I'm not going to give it any place to come and plant itself between me and my partner. So I am going to deal with it and pull it down. But if my partner didn't tell me, I may not know that that is what is happening, and therefore I would be praying about that. And the next thing you know, that take root in the relationship. So now I'm having a problem. But the fact that we have an open communication, he can tell me anything. I know now what is happening. So I start to deal with that in a spiritual realm. I am not going to allow that to manifest itself in the natural. So I am able to pray to soothe that. But in most cases in a relationship, if you say that to a woman, every time you come home, say, talk to the woman. So what happened between you all here? So you sure in together? And what you think? And if all you eat lunch together, well, oh God, now say all together. You understand? So we tend to panic about situations that we don't need to panic about, and we create, as I said in another video, what you focus on and what you give your power to, it will become a reality. So if you start panicking about that, you're going to make that happen, because you're going to start to drive your partner away from you now, because now he feels like he can't tell you anything. So now if there's more happening, he's not going to tell you that. And then you start nagging him about that. He comes home and he's uncomfortable. He can't be comfortable. He can't get rest, because every minute you're talking about that. Now he feels like he needs to talk to this person, because this person is so understanding. Because you know how that's how they come in. They come in as there's the best thing since sliced bread. They start being so understanding, and they're so supportive, and they're listening to your story, and subtly they will tell you things that you want to hear. And you start to look at your partner different now, and next thing you know is because you just mash up your relationship because of your own paranoia and fear. And therefore you give the person a stronghold now into the relationship with your partner. Not that the person is better than you, but at that moment you are now pushing your partner now to find release, not in you, but in somebody else. So therefore you're giving that person strength. And you are the one that is pushing your partner away. Your partner may not have been thinking about that. So we need to be cool and not allow ourselves to panic. because of certain situations. This is letting you know where the danger is coming from so you can deal with it. Not so that you can panic and mash up your relationship. So we are saying that you and your partner must become best friends. He must be able to approach you with anything. Because if he cannot approach you or she cannot approach you with anything, they will find somebody else to talk to. And that somebody else that they may find to talk to may just be somebody with an ulterior motive who is seeking to get themselves in French in your relationship in the first place. And therefore you will start having more problems. And a guy said to me once, he was boasting about how he treats his wife. And he was saying, how much he does do for his wife. He works like 12 hours straight. How he does wash, he does cook, he does treat his wife, and he does spoil his wife. And he was boasting about it. And I was really impressed. And I was like, oh, very good, very good. I'm supportive of any man treating a woman good. And then I asked him, I said, so you take care of your wife so good. I said, who's taking care of you? And he had to stop and ask himself the question. He was like, it's true. You are taking care of your wife really well, and I have no problem with that. But then who's taking care of you? Because obviously you are not leaving room for your wife to do anything for you, or to do. And that could be dangerous too. Because now you have put this woman on a pedestal and you're doing everything for her. And she is actually doing nothing for you. Eventually that is going to become a problem too. Because as I say, balance is the key. You have needs. So we don't want our relationship to be one-sided. One, we don't want our relationship to be a place where my companion has to go outside to get that comfort of friendship. I must be his best friend. When he has something on his mind, the first person he wants to talk to is me. I have to know when he comes to me what role I must play. Whether I must play the role of his best friend, his lover, his wife, his sister, his mother, at that point in time, because we wear many hats. I need to know which one of the hats I am wearing and separate my advice or whatever I am saying to him from my intimacy relationship, part of the relationship. And I observed over the years, there was this story of this gentleman who was talking about he had an arranged marriage. And over the years, his wife and him, he said he didn't love his wife. That's what he said. He didn't love his wife. And he developed a relationship with his wife where she was his best friend. And over the years, he never won her, even though he never married her out of love, because she had become his best friend. And whenever he think about, going outside of the marriage, he think about how much it would hurt her, and he couldn't do that to her because she was his best friend. And I laughed by the story because what he was saying to me was that he did love his wife. But his concept of what love is and what he was taught that love is, he tell himself he didn't love his wife because it never started out with the infatuation and the crazy love and all of that. It started out where they developed a deep level of understanding and friendship. And therefore that friendship grew into love. And the thing about it, real love is not the infatuation. Real love is the understanding, the mutual love for each other, the consideration for each other. It comes to a place that is deeper than the infatuation. And that is what he had developed with his wife. And he didn't identify it as love because he never felt that crazy experience of love. And there are many people who are in love with that crazy experience of love. And as soon as it wears out, they're out of the relationship because they don't want to have to deal with the sandpaper stage. So I discovered in that friendship is stronger than the love a man and a woman could have. And therefore, if you build your relationship on friendship first and discover who each other is, it will be easier to go into that unconditional level of love because you already become each other's best friend. And when you reach to that place and you say relationship, because some people, the minute you say, okay, we're in a relationship, the concept of who you are to them change automatically and they start projecting who they think you should be and not who you are. And we have to be careful of that. But friendship can withstand more than relationship because when a man will not betray his best friend, because every time he hurt him, he goes to his best friend and he talks to his best friend. And he wouldn't betray that relationship with his best friend. He wouldn't think twice to horn his wife. So therefore, if your wife becomes your best friend, then you're not only losing your best friend if you horn your wife, but you're losing a wife too. So now I have to think twice because I have too much at stake. So I am not going to lose my best friend, because every time my head hurts me, I run to my wife, who is my best friend, and she is my friend. So I don't have no, and she gave me sound advice. So I am not willing to risk that friendship and that bond that we have over no piece of momentary excitement. So therefore, what I learned in that story is that friendship was so much relevant to the success of a good relationship as well. So that relationship must be, my companion must be my best friend, and I must be his best friend. And from that, we build to also our relationship and that trust between us and that bond between us. So therefore, we are not allowing outside entities to come into that, because we speak everything to each other and we share everything together. So if something is happening, or somebody on my case, I might say, listen, it have this fella on my case who always coming and thinking, I don't know whatever happening, but he knows now that there's somebody trying to come in between there. And rather than attack me and ask me every minute, you're talking to him, he knows to go in his prayer closet and deal with it there. Same thing with me. Somebody's coming at him and he's telling me about it. Okay, no problem. I deal with it in my prayer closet. I'm not going to be nagging him about it, which is what sometimes we do in relationships. So I have spoken this to my friend, my daughter, as I've discovered it. Try to be the person who is interested in your friend first. Try to develop that friendship and save yourself that coarseness of going through the sandpaper stage where you may not understand. Try to develop that understanding. This is what you know each other. You know each other, so that even if somebody tell you something, you're not even bothered by it, because you're saying, oh yeah, I know that. He's just how he is. You're not taking that on personally. You don't allow it to get to your person, because you just know that that's how the person is. It's nothing towards you, and that you understand that person. So for me, I have had a peep of it once, and it is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. And it's something that I want to achieve again, and hopefully with God's grace. But most people are not prepared to open themselves. And that sometimes is where the problem is, because we have been taught to protect ourselves so much. And we say because of different issues why we go through things, sometimes we love somebody enough to really go the distance, but the fear of opening up ourselves holds us back and creates trauma for that relationship. And fear could also make you do a lot of things that is very negative towards the relationship as well. So that's why it's important for people to heal their wounds and to be able to overcome it, so that they can really allow somebody in properly, because that is where the hiccup comes in also, into not allowing us to open ourselves to proper relationship. So I pray that this message in terms of the stages help you, and that I pray that whoever relationship, if there's wounds in your life that is causing you to not to trust or not allowing you to open up, because nobody cannot be with you if you're not opening up. And what happens when you don't open up is that you end up hurting yourself, because you're protecting yourself so much that you don't give the relationship the energy that is necessary for it to work. And when it fails, and you end up with regrets, because you know you was holding back, you know you didn't give it your best, and then you can't blame the person now when they walk away, because you weren't giving the person the best of you. And then now, who hurt you? Did the person hurt you? No, you hurt yourself. And that is what the enemy wants. The reason why these pain and these trauma comes in your life was to cause you to put up a wall, to cause you to be resistant, to cause you not to open up, to cause you to be damaged so much that you would not ever receive the beautifulness of being truly loved by somebody who really has their best interests at heart. And this is not what the Lord wants for you. The Lord wants you to experience the beauty of what love really is supposed to be. But if you keep putting up your walls are going to keep the person from really getting to who you are. And nobody can work with your walls, so your walls have to come down. if you want somebody to get to who you are and give you that. So I pray that this understanding, if it might help somebody who really love each other and might be going through some sandpaper stage and their walls are up, that they realize that they have to bring the walls down and they have to really allow each other that space and to develop and to really come to them with the truth and let them speak their truth and not pretend to be who they're not, so that they can be their real self and not take everything personally and really love each other genuinely and take care of each other, look out for each other. And when you start doing that, your relationship could change. And also, you could also read a book called The Love Languages, because people express themselves differently, and sometimes the confusion comes about in how you express your love to your partner. You might be showing the love how you like to receive it, but it's not how your partner can read it. And therefore, your partner may feel that you don't care because of how you are, what you are projecting. So you must understand the language of your partner and therefore relate to your partner in that language as well, so they know that they cared for. So I leave you with that, and I pray God for all who's having struggles that they will come to some level of understanding after hearing this tape. Thank you very much. Bye.